All right, this is 7th grade science, the first lesson, Monday's lesson, basically, and with a little bit review of last week's lessons. So we were talking about arthropods, and there's 5 different basic types of arthropods. So there's insects, and those make up the majority of them, and 90% to be exact, and arachnids, and then crustaceans, and centipedes and millipedes. So we are going to finish up arachnids, which we talked about a little bit last week, so you may want to review over that. I'll do a quick review of it. Arachnids, of course, have 8 legs. They have simple eyes, compound eyes. They don't have antennae. They have setae instead. They don't have really mandibles or wings. They don't undergo metamorphosis. They have 2 distinct body parts, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. They have chelicerae, and which they use to grab their prey and seize their prey. And then they have pedipalps, and those help to bring their food to the mouth. And if you remember, they inject their victim with a substance that kind of gets all of their body insides into something that they can drink up. So it's a little slushy, and they drink it all, and that's how they eat their victims there. There's 2 types of spiders, megalomorphs and true spiders. True spiders have fangs that cross like this, and they're usually smaller. Brown spiders, household spiders, cobweb weavers, that kind of thing. And then the megalomorphs are the big spiders like tarantulas and that kind of thing. They live a lot longer, hairier, bigger, scarier looking. Anyway, now we're on page about 380. And you have daddy long legs, which sometimes we call granddaddy long legs, and sometimes the daddy long legs just they have 2 body parts inside, but they do not they don't have like a little waist constriction, so it looks like one big body, oval body, not really big. But anyway, you can pull their legs off, but there's 1 leg or 2 legs that if you pull them off, they'll kill them. But the other legs, it won't kill them. There. So they have sense organs in that second pair of legs, and that's the ones that will kill them. There. So those are called their sensory legs. After mating in autumn, the female daddy long legs lay their eggs in the soil, under logs, or in other out-of-the-way places where the eggs can remain undisturbed until they'll hatch in spring. So soon enough. I'm sorry, I'm like looking this way, but then this way, and this isn't how the others went, so I don't know what I've done differently. But anyway, moving on to scorpions. So scorpions are also considered an arthropod and an arachnid, and they have 4 pairs of walking legs, long segmented abdomen. They have large chela on the end of their pedipalps to catch and hold their prey, tear them apart before they eat them. And they also breathe with book lungs, same as the spiders, and they give birth to live young. So they're either ovoviviparous or viviparous, which means they give birth to live young, or they lay eggs in their body and give birth to live young. They live for many years, and they don't have that many eggs that they lay. All right, so then there's also pseudoscorpions, which is another type of arachnid. And they have a short, flattened abdomen. They have a really, really, really like less than a half an inch, less than a quarter of an inch almost. Less than a quarter of an inch size. So they're not really dangerous to us because they're so small. But we don't really notice them as much. But they're actually poisonous, or venomous. But it wouldn't bother us because they're so small. Sometimes they'll call them book scorpions because they are found in pages of books and stuff like that. Pseudoscorpions do have silk glands, though. The scorpion does not has no spinnerets to spin a web, but they have silk glands instead. And silk emerges from the openings in the animal's chelicerae, and it'll make a cocoon out of that so it can spend its time there. Then you have parasitic arachnids, which would be mites and ticks. And mites, usually you don't even notice them, you don't see them as much. You can find them as parasites. Some are not parasites, and they're like scavengers, herbivores, predators, depending on the species. There's 50,000 different species of ticks and mites. And they predict that there could be up to 1 million species that we don't even know about. So that's kind of interesting. They live in nearly every area of the world, from polar regions to the driest deserts to hot springs, all of that. There's 6 million individuals that live on the surfaces of soil and pastures and that kind of thing. The most obvious difference between mites and ticks would be their size. Mites are usually no bigger than 1/25 of an inch, so like 1 millimeter, basically. And a tick, it's going to be about an inch after consuming a large meal, depending upon, it's not going to be that big if it's just normal, small. They don't have that constriction as well, like the cephalothorax and abdomen. Most adult ticks and mites have 4 pair of legs, but immature ones only have 3 pair, and they grow to other. They, a tick can transmit Rocky Mountain spotted fever. They can transmit Lyme disease to animals and humans, and so you have to be really cautious about that. People sometimes get a skin disease called scabies from mites, a skin infection it's mange in animals, and mites. The larval form of the harvest mite, which we do have around here, can give you chiggers. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that. Basically, if they walk by them or they get on their skin, then they lay eggs in their skin, and they kind of create that rash and all that. So if you think that you've been around chiggers or whatever, it can cause dermatitis, but you can put some alcohol on there to make sure that they're gone, and then some kind of medicated cream or something. Because of the diseases that they transmit, then they're considered some of man's worst enemies there. All right, now you have centipedes and millipedes. All right, so if you think centipedes and millipedes are in one group of arthropods, millipedes are in another. But centipedes, the word means 100-footed. Millipedes, the word means 1,000-footed, but they don't really have 100 or 1,000 feet or legs or whatever you want to call them. Remember, pede means legs or feet, and centi 100, milli 1,000. But it's just kind of what gives the appearance. Like they have a lot of legs. So the centipede. The centipede is, they have 1 leg per body segment. 1 pair of legs per body segment. 2 legs, basically. And I should draw this out, but that is not a pen. And hand sanitizer. So they have 1 pair of legs per body segment. Millipedes have 2 pairs of legs per body segment. And I'm coming back. I'm going to draw this for you so you can see it. And that's probably the biggest difference that you can tell. Centipedes, 1 pair of legs. And don't look on the very end of the body segments. Don't look on that. You just want to look on the middle body segments there. I think the brownies are almost done. So if you look here, this would be the centipede, 1 pair of legs per body segment. This would be the millipede, 2 pairs of legs per body segment. So you've got centipede means 100-footed, millipede means 1,000-footed, and then you've got two pairs of legs on a millipede per body segment, 1 pair per segment on the centipede, and and so what else? Oh, a centipede is kind of flattened, where a millipede is a rounded body, and a centipede is carnivorous, so it has a poison gland, and it's actually dangerous to animals, and it'll eat small crustaceans and small insects and things. And then millipedes, they just have a stink gland, so they just smell bad. They don't really hurt us, but they will damage some crops and stuff. And so I'm almost done. They eat plants a lot. So make sure you know the difference between a centipede and a millipede. That's basically that lesson. And mites and ticks, basically just the size. And do that section review 10.2, and I will be back with 10.3 later.